Mr. Ambassador, welcome to the committee.
Hi, Senator.
It's great to be with you. And I realized when you were being introduced today that you and I had something in common. Both of us took the Foreign Service exam some decades ago. The only difference was that you passed and I didn't, but we won't dwell on that. But I appreciate having you here. There's been a lot of talk today, rightly so, about truth to power. And sometimes that sounds too easy. And my concern is it's more subtle than somebody mendaciously doctoring intelligence or changing it. It's human nature to want to tell the boss what they want to hear. And so the question is, how do we build a structure to be sure that that is the ongoing policy and that we don't slip into a kind of comfortable relationship with the president or this committee or the Secretary of Defense, where it's more of an unconscious process, but the result is the same: biased intelligence that will undermine good decision making. Give me some thoughts on that, please.
Well, Senator King, it's good to see you, and I think you're absolutely right. Speaking truth to power has to be more than a slogan, and it is often easier said than done. I think the tone gets set at the top. I've known President Biden for a quarter century and have great respect for him. And when he told me, in literally almost the first thing he said when he asked me to take on this role, that he expected me and CIA to deliver intelligence to him straight, I know that he meant it. And I think setting that tone at the top is crucially important. I know it can become difficult in the press of crises and policy making to lose sight of the importance of delivering unadulterated intelligence judgments. And it's important to remain mindful of that over time and be reminded of it, as I know all of you on this committee will remind me. All I can say is that I'm acutely aware of the importance of playing that role. I know it's a different role than the one I've played in the past as a policymaker or as an ambassador overseas, but I look forward to it because I do understand from those perspectives how crucial it is to have intelligence, the best possible intelligence that CIA can collect, delivered with honesty and integrity, and that's what I intend to do.
In order to effectuate that, I hope that you will provide strong support to the Ombudsman program, to the Analytical Integrity program that's ongoing, so that the commitment you have from the president extends throughout the agency. To follow up, in your memoir in 2019, you said that your greatest professional regret was your failure to effectively communicate your concerns prior to the 2003 invasion of Iraq. It seems to me that's an example of exactly what we're talking about. Share that experience, if you would.
Sure. Well, first, Senator, I do agree with you on the important role that the Ombudsman plays, and if I'm confirmed as director, I will do everything I can to defend and strengthen that role, because it does give analysts an opportunity, if they have concerns about pressures or politicization, to raise them as well. I tried to write honestly in the memoir that I published a couple of years ago about my experience when I was serving as the head of the Near East Bureau in the State Department for Colin Powell, a leader for whom I have enormous respect, in the run-up to the Iraq War. And what I tried to do, along with my colleagues, was to be honest about concerns that we had about how complicated the day after in Iraq would be, even if the U.S. military successfully overthrew Saddam Hussein, which I didn't doubt would be the case. A couple of colleagues of mine and I, Ryan Crocker, who later became U.S. ambassador in the hardest places around the world, and David Pierce, wrote a memo in the summer of 2002 to Secretary Powell, which we entitled The Perfect Storm. And we tried imperfectly to lay out our concerns about everything that could go wrong in the run-up to the war in Iraq and on the days after. It was imperfect. We got it about half right and half wrong in terms of, many of the problems we tried to identify. But I mention it only because it was an honest effort to express our concerns. And I think that's what's incumbent whether you're in a policy-making role, as I was then at the State Department, or in a senior intelligence role, is to be straightforward about your concerns, because without that, policy choices suffer.
Exactly. Thank you. Well, thank you, Mr. Ambassador, and I also will join my colleagues. I look forward to working with you. And the relationship with this committee is very important because separately from all other agencies, most other agencies, the U.S. government, nobody's watching the CIA except us. And therefore, you've got to be as open as possible with us so that we can meet our responsibility to the American people to be sure that this secret organization, which is sort of an anomaly in a democracy, is being overseen and supervised by elected representatives. So I look forward to working with you. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I yield back.